watch as the doctors come in and perform the heart surgery. So like the doctors and the nurses come in, and they start to check them out, and the doctor rolls in, and the doctor looks at the nurses and kind of feels what's going on, reaches out, and he basically says, "Can I have this operating tool?" I'm like thinking it's just going to be like a scalpel, right? Nope. He pulls out this thing, it looks like a skill saw. I don't know if you know what a skill saw is, but it's like got a blade on the end of it, and he's straight. You're supposed to be asleep, okay? Because if you were awake, this would hurt way too bad. So it's got this wheel on the end of it, and it's like a saw, right? So the doctor goes, zoom, 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 and the wheel goes, zzz, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? He lays that saw down right below the Adam's apple and goes, zzz, cuts him from the Adam's apple to below the belly button with this saw. Just zzz. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. It reminds me of, in Cambodia, we have this pond in our base, and I call it the miracle pond, because our Cambodian staff, on Saturdays, we don't have meals in our base, and our Cambodian staff have been fishing out of that pond for the last 6.5 years, and the pond looks completely disgusting, but it keeps producing fish, and we never try to breed fish. They just keep coming from nowhere.
Somehow.
We've grown from 5 staff to 60 staff, and they just keep coming. All these fish, every single Saturday, tons and tons of fish. It's like multiplication of fish. And so when they catch these fish every day, every Saturday, they basically take the fish and they cut it from right below the neck, right like that, zip, right to the tail. And it's kind of like the same way that the doctor rolls up and goes, zzz, just cuts him right from the Adam's apple to below the belly button. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is intense, right? Next thing that happens is basically they start to spread his skin out, right? And you can start to see into everything inside. Sorry, some of you guys are like, please stop. So then what happens is they get like this little crank. It's kind of like a car jack. Okay, you guys know what a car jack is? It's when you get a flat tire on your car, and you put it underneath the tire, and you jack up the car so you can change the tire, right? It looks like that, but it's a miniature one. They slide it underneath his ribs, and crank the ribs up, right?
Oh, man.
And the ribs come busting up, just... And all of a sudden the camera just goes... just zooms right in. And the commentator comes back on and says, now we can see the heart that is sick. And it's all black and gross, and you're like, obviously, this is a jacked up heart, right? And so then the doctor basically says, scalpel, gets the scalpel from the nurse, reaches in, and you can see all the veins and arteries and stuff coming into the heart. He reaches in, goes zip, 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 cuts all the connecting arteries and veins, reaches in with his bare hand, grabs the heart, and you guys are like, grabs the heart, puts it in a bowl. I'm like, why are you putting it in a bowl? Are you going to save it for dinner or something? He reaches down underneath. You're supposed to be asleep. He reaches down underneath and he pulls out an icebox. An icebox? What is he going to take a lunch break at this point? Pull out a sandwich and chips and a cold beer or something and just He opens up the icebox. Guess what's in there?
New heart.
New heart. Pulls out this new heart. Puts it into the guy. Connects all the arteries and veins back. Undoes, lets the crank down, the ribs go zzz. They pull the skin back up together. Sew this guy up. The commentator comes back on and says, the heart surgery was successful. This man will now surely live for the next 30 or 40 years.